initiative that I'll be starting is community calls around the KyberDAO governance, just so we can kind of come together every once in a while and catch up on everything going on around the KyberDAO. On top of that, community input from the community, see where everyone's thoughts are, any feedback, concerns, and then any suggestions, proposals, things like that. So throughout this call, we do have an agenda laid out. There will be time to ask any questions or anything like that, leave any input or feedback. But to prevent spamming and voice chats in the going off during the call, we had to make it so you can only talk if you have the speaker role in Discord. So if you want to talk over voice or you have something to say, you can either type it in the general text chat, or you can just say, hey, can I speak? And one of the admins will get you the speaker role. And again, just probably use general English chat. All right, sorry, clear my throat there. So to start out, we do have some key highlights I want to go over. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks since KyberDAO launched. We have over 50 million KNC tokens being staked right now in the KyberDAO. It's over $85 million. Really good to see those numbers. Over 4,000 staking addresses on the 2,500 of which, voted on our very first proposal, which that's very impressive. I think, getting to over 2,500 people, ready to vote and there on the very first proposal. So it's really great to see, the community ready to take action and vote when needed. There was over 630 Ethereum or over $220,000 of rewards distributed to voters. So that's also good. And on top of that, I'm going to be posting a couple links here. We have the KIP 1, which was published, and KIP 2. They are the Kyber improvement proposal. So we've got the first one there. Yeah, sorry, don't think so. Clearing my throat. And then we have the KIP 2 here. Let me link. Now it's worth going over, I think, for these. It kind of lays out the general, concepts, terminologies, and the process for the BRRs and things like that. I'm missing a doc here. Let me pull it up real quick. In the meantime, though, if anyone has any questions so far or anything, please feel free, or just kind of close and we can discuss them later on in the call. So with the KIP 1, something I wanted to go over real quick is campaigns. So there's different types of campaigns for these improvement protocols, proposals. Now we've got the fee change, for an example. So for the fee, on Kyber Network, there's a network fee. This is standard across every swap or trade. Now that it's in the hands of the DAO, however, this fee could be changed. So there's a fee campaign every 3 months for the network fee, but there's also other campaigns, so we have the BRR campaigns, which is something that you guys have probably voted on, right? The burn, rebates, rewards. But then there's also other campaigns, like general campaigns. And now this is for stuff that isn't exactly laid out or specified currently, but it could be open to many things other than just the fee or the BRR. So each epoch, it can have, up to 10 campaigns or less. So one being the fee campaign, you can have a max of one fee campaign, one BRR campaign per epoch. And then, the rest is open for general campaigns and such. So if you have the time, definitely check out KIP 1, KIP 2. I think more is going to be put into the campaigns beyond the fee and BRR campaigns in the future. Other than that, we do have, I think we have a question. Since KNC is supported on MakerDAO, can't a strategy like YF be done for KNC as well on EARN? I think the answer is yeah. Technically, they could support KNC. I'm not an expert on EARN, but I do think it's a community-oriented thing, so it would be up to the community to kind of, bring KNC in or vote KNC in. So other than that, we do have KyberDAO is now a featured dApp on Engine and Status Wallet. So if you don't know what those are, they're basically mobile wallets right now. They allow you to access your crypto as well as like browse dApps and such directly from your mobile device. But KyberDAO is now natively supported, and it's a featured dApp, I should say. So that's cool, opening up, gives people more chances to vote, if they don't have a computer. So another thing too, in the past few weeks, Kyber has been doing a ton of AMAs, getting, Catalyst pushed out there, which has been great. That's up with like Chainlink, Status, which, the wallet I just mentioned, Smart Valor, Gains Associates, tons of other AMAs. Great getting information out there. Another thing too, if you've kind of been out of the loop the past few epochs, there is a governance insights post, which was posted to the blog. I'm going to post that in general now. So again, if you are kind of behind and you're trying to catch up, check out this overview/insights. I guess that's from just epoch 1. No, that's 1. Okay. Yeah, just epoch 1 overview, I guess. But check that out if you haven't. Up next, we have the highly anticipated Kyber community pool. So I do have some news on the Kyber community pool, both good and bad. I feel like it's probably the best time to share it here. I know it's something that a lot of people have been looking forward to, and we are still going on with development. So it originally began, we started developing the smart contracts, then the design work for the front end, then building that out. Then kind of piecing it together, as well as the audits. Well, for a long time, we were waiting on the audits, everyone, when community pool? And it was all just depending on these audits. We didn't want to push something out to the community that wasn't audited or safe. It's not right. We don't want our community to be at risk of losing money. So we were holding it off. And then the audits finally passed and they were done. Well, the main developer who was doing the contract backend work, he took on an obligation with another company as a CEO. So long story short, the amount of time he was able to put into this project dropped down a lot. So it is just me and the other front end person. We do not have the contract person, and right now I'm actively working. I've got plenty of people who have reached out to me, so there's definitely no issue finding someone. I think right now for the community pool, it's just a matter of finalizing it. We have the beginning work done. We have all the audited contracts. Those are all done, all audited, ready to go. All the design work is done. Like 90%, it has to be pieced together kind of. So most of the work is there for the community pool. But again, because of the developer, we are kind of in a pickle right now. We've got to find someone else just to finish finalizing things before we can finally go live. So that is the current status with the community pool. Now, Lois says, how can we help make staking and voting easier for KNC holders? This is a good question. I think there are a couple things. But personally, for me and from what I've seen kind of from the community is the gas, of course. There's been a lot of talk about like these gas costs. They're terrible, which, I think we can all obviously agree on. This isn't something that's native to Kyber. Obviously, if Kyber could say, hey, we're not going to, charge any gas costs, I'm sure they would love to do that. I mean, everyone would. No one wants to be charging unnecessary fees, but it's definitely holding a lot of people back, I think. So I think, with these pools that are coming out more and more, that it's going to make things easier, a lot more easier for users, because one, they don't have to, focus on studying each proposal and making sure they're voting right or doing the right research before they vote. Instead, they can leave it in the hands of, a pool. And on top of that, they don't have to pay the gas fees every 2 weeks, which is another big issue too for people. So I think those, the fees there and such are one way to make it a lot easier for KNC holders. Does anyone from the community have any suggestions on, like what might make it easier for you guys or for the community to stake?
Oh, first of all, I just wanted to thank you, DeFi Dude, for helping to set up the Kyber community pool. I think that's something that a lot of the community members are really looking forward to, and it's a really great initiative. And thanks for bringing it, coming up with the idea and reaching out to the team to make it happen. And if you need help finding a developer to help finish the platform, do let us know as well.
Yeah, will do. I appreciate it. Cool. Yeah, just saying. So if anyone from the community, going back to making it easier for those to stake, if anyone has any thoughts there. Again, you can't talk over voice. We have it locked down kind of. So if you want to speak over voice, just kind of say it, or you feel free to type in general chat. I don't think so says rewards are too less, to be honest, for staking. I guess it depends on how much you're staking for one, but two, right now it is a matter of working things out, right? It's changing constantly. How much is being rewarded for staking, and how much is rewarded for rebate. So I think it's a matter of finding the right fit. But not only that, it's the rewards to grow with growth of Kyber. So while they might be little now, it's hard to say. I don't know, it's not something that's directly controlled. I guess just growth of Kyber would make that better, but I believe staking and voting is pretty easy. Black Hammer says the biggest barrier right now is that only the fairly wealthy can vote. I agree with DeFi Dude's recommendation. The most sustainable way to incentivize voting is network growth. I'm curious about the major initiatives Kyber is moving forward with to stimulate healthy growth. So the first part I can speak on. The second part might be better left for someone at Kyber, but definitely I can see where you're coming from with the only the wealthy can vote type of thing. It's what seems like it for a lot of people, just because of the gas costs. These costs are absolutely crazy. So it definitely seems like you need to have a lot more to vote to make it worthwhile. But as far as any major initiatives to move forward with stimulating healthy growth, I don't, Shane, I don't know if you guys have anything specific that you're ready to share, or if it's kind of nothing yet.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I think some of my team members I will be able to share more as well. But over the course of the past few EMAs we've done, I think we talked about how post Catalyst, one of our key focus would be to enhance liquidity on the Kyber protocol. So one thing that we have been actually working on is collaborating with different members of the Chicago DeFi Alliance, of which we are a member, and really doing a lot of research and getting the feedback from some of these professional market makers and some of the top liquidity providers in the centralized exchange space, and seeing what they need to get onto the on-chain market making space. So that's one thing we're doing. Another thing that we are researching on is how we can develop a system where people can openly create a reserve of their own that fits their needs and contribute liquidity in an open and transparent way. But yeah, as mentioned in some of our EMAs, that this is still a work in progress. But we are definitely aware. The whole team is very aware of what's happening in the DeFi space. We participate in all the new and innovative experiments that are going on, and we are deeply in the loop. But it will take some time for us to develop something. So we will keep you guys updated as soon as possible whenever something new comes up. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I don't think so says, is Kyber planning on integrating any layer 2 solution? Again, I might not be the best person, but I do know that I think Kyber Swap is at least looking into it. They're researching layer 2. As far as Kyber Network themselves, I'm not sure if that's something they would want, be able to implement on a protocol layer, or if it's something that those integrating Kyber would maybe want to integrate the layer 2, such as Kyber swap. So I'm not too sure exactly on that. But Raziel makes a good point too, in terms of delegation. Just a thought for people who delegate their KNC, they don't really have a way of knowing it worked. So in his personal case, he's using Kyber's website to vote, and a few of his mates delegated to him personally. But they don't really have a way of knowing, so they message him like, "Hey, are we voted yet?" Things like that. So that's a good point. Through the delegation screen, it is a little bare. So like if you're delegating to an address specifically, I think this is a little different. If you're going to be using, say, a delegation pool, for example, the community pool specifically, while it's not out yet, of course, there is an actual interface. It's going to show like that you're staked, that you're delegated to this pool, your rewards, how much it built up, all that good stuff. So that is one option. It is different, of course, than delegate, your friends delegating to you specifically through kyber.org. But yeah, that is a good point. It might not be super clear whether or not, if you're delegated yet, or whether or not the person voted whoever you delegated to. So that would be something to be nice to see a little more information about.
Yeah, so I think Raziel is referring to the simple delegation, like the default delegation that you can find on kyber.org, where basically you just delegate to a different Ethereum address, could be your own, could be your friend. So I think Sunny, who's on the call, could be a good person to answer this question on like if there's some way on the UI front we can make this a bit clearer for the delegates or the person delegating. Sunny, you want to take this?
So there are two entities here, right? So if I delegate my votes to let's say you, and then if you vote, the question is that how do I know whether you have voted or not? Did I get it correctly? Shane, is this?
Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah, so right now, this is right now, honestly, like right now, yes, we are not displaying this thing whether the person you have delegated to, whether that person has voted or not. We do have something in plan that we will notify you as a reminder if you have not delegated and you have not voted. We'll send a reminder to you. Again, it's an optional, you can opt for it. We'll send a reminder that it's time to vote, or the voting is closing in like 2-3 days. But this is something that probably have to look upon, like how we can facilitate that thing, that if you have delegated your vote to someone and that someone has not voted, then, or whenever that person has voted, you get a notification. Is that okay?
Just to add on to this topic, since we are talking about like delegation and staking pools. So one of the questions we've been getting is that like the gas fees are so high, sometimes it eats into the rewards. Even voting is the cost of gas. Voting, claiming, and staking, they all will cost gas because everything is on chain and fully transparent, and that's our design choice for this. So one of the ways to reduce to save on gas would be to delegate or kind of to stake in these third-party staking pools. I know we have been reminding everyone on the list of pools very often, but I would just take this opportunity to say it again. They are non-custodial pools where it's through a trustless smart contract proxy. So you have full control of your KNC and your ETH. These third-party pools, they don't have control of these tokens at all. These pools would be like unagi.com, X token market, the Kyber community pool that DeFi Dude is leading, that will be live soon. There will be one by Stake.us and another by StakeDAO, by Stake Capital. So these are in the pipeline. For custodial options, these would be your centralized exchanges like Binance and Smart Vela. So we just did an AMA with Smart Vela where they explain on how you can stake through them. If you're interested, you can go watch it. DeFi, back to you.
Cool. Thank you, Shane. Black Kyber says, I want the DAO to create a social impact fund from a small percent of fees burned. Eventually, I would like the community to establish something that gives to the next generation. Definitely something cool. I think DAOs in general, I would love to see more like public goods and social impact DAOs are very neat. And Shane did mention something about, when he was talking about pools, he mentioned Binance, which I do have a note for the agenda that I kind of want to touch on today. And it is about Binance. So you may already know Binance has a staking pool. They're making it very easy for users to stake KNC. So if you want to earn rewards, you could simply just deposit on Binance. Boom, easy as that. Now there are problems, of course. So Binance is centralized. This means you obviously don't have full control over your funds, which is one of the main reasons a lot of us are here today is to try and take away that control of a lot of these centralized entities. So, but there's been a lot of hate, I guess, too, just around the Binance voting. And I think it's because they own so much KNC or power that a lot of people feel it's almost, it's unfair. And so I do want to talk about that a little bit. I do completely understand like where everyone's coming from when it comes to that. But the question, I guess it's more about like, what can we do in this case rather than, who can we take this out on and be upset at, just because this isn't something that's, native to KyberDAO or, anything Kyber specific. It's literally any governance project inside of cryptocurrency. You have MakerDAO or any other DAO or anything like that. If it's supported on Binance, it just means that Binance is going to have a huge majority of supply. And that doesn't mean like it's theirs specifically that they own. It's just that it's literally the biggest exchange. So every user that uses it has their KNC or DAO token sitting on Binance, and Binance can just use it however they want. So this is a problem and is a threat. But at the same time, it's not something that should be looked at like, okay, everything's over, we can never come back from this. I think this, we've seen over time, people are moving away from these centralized exchanges. These decentralized exchanges and, decentralized products are becoming more and more readily available, more easy to use. So I think in the short to midterm, we are going to see more users move away from Binance, which one is just going to, kind of lower how much KNC they have. In general, but another big point with Binance too is that they are, from what I hear from Kyber, they are playing nice. They're not trying to. They want crypto to succeed. Obviously, they have millions and millions of dollars in crypto and Kyber, so that, they're not going to be trying to play evil. I believe because for the BRR3, they accidentally selected the wrong option, which I think is what a lot of the hate stemmed from originally. Basically, they were voting in the last moment, and then they realized they selected the wrong option. They only realized after the proposal had ended. But when you're voting with thousands and thousands of people's KNC, it does have a big impact. So it would have been nice if they took a little more precaution, obviously, there. But they did just, Kyber had a discussion with Binance. They wanted to see how they can, further optimize things, just so like that, things like that doesn't happen again, because obviously that's bad. So going forward, I would hope after they kind of work together to make things easier, so there is no last minute oopsie again. I think then the biggest obstacle with Binance is just a matter of like, how can we ensure that they're A, playing safe, and B, like kind of maybe move away from them holding so much power. One suggestion a long time ago was like, well, can't we just like say blacklist Binance, and like we don't want them to be able to vote at all. And like, while this may be technically possible, it's not. It would make no sense, because if you think about it, like say we blacklist their main voting address, the DAO as a whole, they agree, they're like, yeah, let's blacklist this. So what can they do? They can go ahead, create a new address, transfer the KNC over, boom. done. Like it's as simple as that. Now they can vote again. They can do whatever they want. Of course, they might miss an epoch or what have you, but it just makes no sense to be kind of chasing them down every single time or blacklisting them. So I think it's a matter of focusing on what we can do to just kind of bring the share of the voter power more in the hands of the people, I guess, rather than just Binance, because again, a lot of this is from people storing their funds on Binance and not just Binance wanting to control it or because they personally own a ton. So those are just some of my. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts towards the Binance thing. Please share them. Any questions, concerns, thoughts? But Binance is good. Yeah, could be good. They definitely help a lot of people get into crypto. That is very sure.
So some improvements we made. I think Sunny and the KyberDAO team on the UI front, we have looked at a lot of the feedback that the community has been giving us, and we try to iterate on the go after every epoch. So, for example, we added the labels, right? Like option 1, 2, 3, 4 now, which makes it much easier for third-party staking pools that are voting on their own on behalf of their users to select the right option. That's one thing. Another thing is for those who are willing to wait a longer time for their vote, their stake, or their claim to take place, they can actually select slower gas under the advanced drop-down list, so that they can save a little bit on gas. But of course, the trade-off is you have to wait a little bit longer. So these are two of some of the improvements that we are trying to do on the UI and on the whole process, so that our Kyber community members can benefit from it. DeFi, do you have any suggestions based on your own experience voting?
Not off the top of my head, not that I can think of right now. No. What do you mean? Don't think so. We can vote on which coins to add. Oh, you mean like the DAO can vote on which assets are added to Kyber? Maybe. This is something that it has been discussed. It's something that it will very likely become possible in a later future. I think it was discussed. I don't think it's ready anytime soon. But yeah, voting on which coins to add could definitely be possible, I guess, in the future for sure. All right. I've got a few more points on the agenda we can cover. Otherwise, from there, we can kind of just lead it into open floor discussion, any community questions, things like that. So we do have, let's see, one topic that isn't necessarily related to KyberDAO, but it was a topic that was brought up. And so I wanted to discuss it during this call, is just like the 24-hour volume, as well as why total value locked is not a good gauge for Kyber or for, well, I would say DeFi in general, sort of. So a DeFi Pulse is a website that is very commonly referenced. And it basically what it is it shows, a lot of the popular DeFi projects and how much capital they have locked inside of their platform or protocol or smart contracts or whatever. So Kyber itself has never, had. Well, okay, I guess that's not the right wording. But if you look at say Kyber network and how much value locked they have compared to say something like Uniswap, which also can utilize automated price reserves or automated market making reserve, you'll notice that Uniswap has a ton more locked. And some people might think, well, that just means Uniswap is this much better or something like that. But in a way, it's actually not true and is actually bad in a sense for Uniswap, the fact that they have to have that much. So I don't know the exact numbers. I know Dennis from Kyber, he I think he ran some numbers on this, or I heard some from him. But what I know is that like basically to produce similar amounts of volume. So like let's say you wanted to produce $1 million in volume for the KNC pair. You wanted to run the test on using Kyber's reserve, and then you wanted to do it again using Uniswap's reserve. So I've actually got a link that here that would explain it better than anything I could explain. But basically, the Kyber automated reserve not only is going to see way less slippage than the Uniswap reserve, which again in this link here I'll post in general. There's a bunch of cool graphs that show it all very nice and neatly. So there'll be a bunch of less slippage, but not only that, it's like the amount of capital required to meet that same volume requirements is so low. So like, again, I don't know the numbers. I should have wrote these down or something, but it was something like Kyber swap requires like 10 times less or even something crazier than that for liquidity locked to produce the same amount of volume or comparable like volume with similar slippage as Uniswap. So something crazy, but just goes to show that like while they're both automated price reserves or market makers, they are very different on the back end and clearly work very differently and have their pros and cons. So I would definitely, if you're ever wondering like how does the Uniswap AMM differ from Kyber's APR, this link that I just posted, that is, explains it all. It will explain everything. So other than that, let's see, we have to finish things off, other than the community questions, we do have, let's see, can the community use, so one thing is like external forums. So what's been popular with DeFi lately, like with Yearn, if you've been following Yearn or the Wi-Fi stuff, is they've all kind of started building like these external forums or like these governance boards, just a place for community members to obviously, govern and discuss proposals or future governance. So, it would be very cool if like the community as a whole could, if you're active in this stuff, participate more in like these external forums. So for example, like on this, the Yearn governance board, there was a proposal, this was over 2 weeks ago now, but it was to add Kyber network to Y vaults on Yearn. And so, obviously in this case, it would benefit, oh, cool. Looks like the author of this is actually in the call, but, so yeah, it would be very cool if the community was more proactive, I guess, in some of this stuff. I'm not blaming anyone. I didn't participate in this, but so if you see something like this, don't hesitate to share it with the Kyber community. And it's likely that it could have gotten missed, or some of us don't even know about it. But if we did, we'd be happy to chime in or give our input, which could possibly help it get passed or whatever. So definitely, would love to see more. More of the community being proactive about Kyber in different places and forums and such. And I guess the final thing I had before open floor discussion is just like the KIP process, the Kyber improvement proposals. Like, is this something that could Reddit use, could the community use Reddit for? Because there is sort of some rough consensus building that would be needed. So you're not going to be, like for an example, some other little fun project that me and my friends have. It's nothing serious, but we use a private subreddit to actually like get a rough consensus before we even go further than that. So if someone posts on Reddit and is like, hey, should we do this? Everyone's like, no, that's so dumb, we're not doing that. Well, then you kind of already know that it's going to have no support. No one is interested in doing it. So there's no point in taking that even further. So would be nice to see if there's any thoughts on like rough consensus building, like where that could take place, maybe such as a Reddit or a discourse or something of this sort. So that is all I have today. If anyone has any questions about anything that I discussed or anyone else, feel free. Otherwise, anything else, it's open floor. So if you have any questions unrelated to anything discussed, you're still also welcome to mention it now.
Yeah, I think regarding like proposals, right? So I think Blockhammer, the user Blockhammer actually DM'd me. Sorry, I forgot to reply you. And he has some interesting proposals, like what he wrote here about a social, like having some of the percentage of the network fees going to a social fund, and also to have like notifications for the KyberDAO voting. So I'm not sure what's the best way, but now that we are in the like kind of the at a nascent stage of our rough consensus building process, right? Like where we discuss through calls like this, and over Discord, over Telegram, or on Twitter even, on interesting like ideas that we can deploy, any improvements that we can make on the UI, etc. One way could be to write a post on our Kyber Reddit. What is I will just paste the link here. And yeah, that could be one avenue where people can actually see a proposal and comment on it, and we can discuss it over governance calls such as this. And if it's something very complex, it requires much more content. You actually need to verbally explain your proposal. DeFi can just assign you a speaker role here, and you can actually pitch it to the rest of the community during our calls as well. So that's one idea I have. But if you guys in the community have any other cool ideas, please share them here as well. DeFi, for yourself, what do you think would be a interesting process that we can look at for people like Blockhammer who has proposals?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you mentioned does work very well. Something like mentioning it on these calls. I mean, really, I just agree with what you said. Posting on the Reddit is a great place. Otherwise, coming on these calls. You don't think so? It says something about a governance board, which that too would be kind of cool. But at that point, it's like we've got so many different areas. So it's like, where do they decide to make this proposal? Telegram, Discord, Reddit, discourse forum, but definitely, yeah, post on Reddit, maybe speak and explain it during these calls. Probably the best bet for now.
Yeah, great initiative on this governance call. I think a lot of us are, of course, inspired by governance calls by other projects as well, right? Like Maker, and we have seen and we participated in these calls and seen what a lot of value that can come out of it. So it's great that Kyber have something like this as well now moving forward. How often do you think these calls should be?
Yeah, I was actually waiting to bring that up. I don't know. I kind of wanted to bring that up with you guys too. So don't think so says once a month, but then I kind of thought maybe every epoch too. So I'm in between, I guess. If we do it every epoch or every 2 weeks, there might be less to discuss. But obviously they're more frequent, so I don't know. Just curious what your guys' thoughts are.
Yeah, bi-weekly, which is essentially once every epoch, would be a good start, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we could always change it around, but I think at least to start, then maybe do bi-weekly.
Yeah, and the timing seems good. Like if it's still less than an hour, and now we can kind of like open the floor, right, to questions.
Yeah, we'll sit with bi-weekly now, Blackhammer. If it is too frequent or whatever, like it could always be changed in the future, but I think we'll try and feel it out, see how things go. And as Shane said, it is open floor, so if anything you want to discuss, feel free. Otherwise, we can say our farewells and carry on. And again, before people do start dropping off, I do just want to thank you all for coming here today and sitting in on this governance call. We appreciate your support in the community and at Kyber. So I hope to see you at the next one.
While waiting for some questions, just wanted to remind those of you guys who are also KyberSwap users that from about 1 hour 10 minutes from now, there will be an AMA on the KyberSwap Telegram group if you're interested. So it's an AMA with B protocol, which is backstop protocol, and it's a project that is run by our technical advisor, Yaron Velner. So those who are KyberSwap users, I think it would be a good AMA for you guys to attend as well. There are prizes to be won, by the way.
Ooh, prizes. Got me interest. Cool. Is there? Do you have a link for that by chance, Shane?
Yes.
Or is it?
Yes, Sunny will paste it.
Yeah, let me share.
Awesome.
Copy text.
Cool. Well, it seems that not many people have any more questions. People are dropping out, so I guess we can wrap it up there. Until the next call, again, though, if anyone runs into any questions, you can always reach out to me. That's what I'm here for, the community. So come to me with any questions, or Shane, or post them in the Discord. Definitely happy to see you guys at the next call, which we will announce again, but I'm sure it'll be similar to this time again in 2 weeks. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you for organizing.
Thank you for organizing it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.